Hi, Blind Guy Garage. New problem, haven't seen it in a while, so I've wanted to kind of do a short video on it. We have a Kohler Courage 5 horsepower, and the fellow was running it with full choke at one point, and then he went to half choke, and this happened a while ago, and me and him just got done talking because I had to give him some bad news. So we get the machine, it cranks, it sounds great. It sounds like it's going to have all this compression and power. We have spark, and we throw some brake clean in there to see if it'll fire, and it won't fire. We pull the plugs out, throw some brake clean straight in there, because when we pulled the plugs out to do a compression test, we had dry plugs. And we know we sprayed fuel in it, and it still did dry plugs. So we cranked it again with the plugs in it. No kabooms, nothing's happening. It sounds like it's cranking with good compression, and nothing happened. So I got to thinking, we're not moving any air on the compression tester, but it's popping my finger off. So I was thinking, well, I've had this happen before. Let's check the push rods.
Right.
So we pull the, where's the push rods?
Oh, push rod.
Yeah, over here. So then we pull the push rods out, and they look like this. So that kind of stuff can happen if you're running it at partial choke and it backfires and pops or something like that. They're thin. They're made to do this so that you don't blow head gaskets or damage things. So I was like, all right, well, we'll have to put push rods in it. Maybe it did that. I couldn't, and then I realized I couldn't compress the valve spring at all for the intake valve. So I take a rubber mallet and I do this. I set the rubber mallet on the tip of the valve and I hit it with my hand. Well, it feels rock solid. I'm not moving it. So I want to see if I can get it to move at all. And it won't move. We're hitting it. That's pretty hard. Like, that valve will never see that kind of force. You go down here to tap this. I'm going to tap it because it's got the rocker arm on it. You can actually, if we can get it on camera, you'll see it. But you can tell it's just bouncing my hammer off. Now watch what it sounds like when you hit it, the back of that valve. I'm just going to tap it. I'm not going to mushroom the valve or anything like that. Now, this is me hitting the surface of the head. See the same? It sounds almost exactly the same. That thing is so rock solid, it's actually put little circular divots in the end of my mallet, and I'm hitting it pretty hard. Like I'm hitting it hard enough that if I don't hit it, if I hit it any harder, I might be bending the valve over. So this motor is cooked. Now what I think happened is it was ran long enough that the oil thinned out with gas, because it smells like rotten gas really bad. It ran over full, and now the oil is just as thin as water. It's as thin as it could be. And it's really thin. Like I shouldn't be able to feel my fingerprints through that, and I can feel the fingerprints on my fingers. So, now that being said, the oil feels thick enough to have been able to keep this from happening right now. But if it got any temperature in it at all, it'd only be half as thin as it is now. It'd be, or twice as thin, I guess you'd say. It'd be even thinner than water, the consistency. And I mean, when we pull the valve covers off, it just drips. It's just really thin. It's trying to drip off of my finger, and good oil won't do that. So don't run your machine at full throttle or partial throttle, choke, the entire time you're cutting. If you're having to do that, you're putting more gas, less air, and right now this thing is showing overfull, and you're putting more gas in the engine than it can do anything with, because it doesn't have enough air to do anything with it. It goes past the rings, it gets in the crankcase, thins out the oil, and then you might as well run it with low oil. Because then also, if it's overfull, so then it aerated the oil's splashing and foaming up while it's running. And that would have also put air bubbles all through it. So even if we were to be able to get these unstuck, which I'm afraid to hit them any harder than I've already hit them, we could have connecting rod problems once we get it running good and put, of course we would be putting good oil in it first. So don't run your stuff at partial choke for an entire cut. If you're having to do that long enough to, like the block is warm back here in the back or something, you can touch it, then fine. But if you're having to run one at partial choke, half choke, or full choke just to get it to run, you're going to do this right here. You can do, and it may not just be it makes the valve stick. It may just throw the rod completely out of it, blow a hole through the block, all kinds of craziness. Hope this is helpful. It's a good short one. Y'all like, share, and subscribe, and stay blessed.